The black of space was endless and quiet, stretching in every direction like an ancient ocean. Near the edge of the galaxy, far beyond the busy trade lanes and populated worlds, there was a place known only in whispers, the silent expanse. No ships flew there, no satellites worked within it. It was a blank zone on every star map, marked with a warning, "Do not enter." But Commander Lyra Solis had always been curious. Her scout vessel, the Zephyr, drifted at the edge of the expanse. Lyra stood at the main window of the bridge, arms crossed, watching nothingness. The dark wasn't empty. Something was out there. She felt it in her bones. The signal had started a few days ago. Weak, faint, ancient. It repeated once every 12 hours in a language no one had heard in 20,000 years. Human Standard Earth English. Lyra was 34, tall, sharp-eyed, with short black hair and a calm face that rarely showed fear. She had spent her career scanning forgotten corners of the galaxy, mapping asteroids, decoding abandoned probes. This signal, though, this was different. Commander, her second-in-command, Tech Officer Bren, said from the console. "Signal's growing stronger. It's not natural, definitely a beacon. And it's moving." Lyra turned sharply. "Moving? What direction?" "From inside the expanse. It's heading this way, slow but steady." He hesitated. "Size estimate, massive, like city-sized." The crew went quiet. Lyra's heart pounded, but she didn't show it. "Put it on screen." The blackness of the expanse flickered, then shifted. At first, nothing, then a shadow. Something was coming out of the dark. Slowly, a shape emerged. It was a ship, old, huge. Its surface was covered in thick plating and strange glowing lines. Ice crusted the outer hull. Some parts were broken or burnt, but the structure held together. The lights inside were faint, flickering. It looked asleep, but it was alive. Bren's voice was barely above a whisper. "It's human." Lyra stepped closer to the screen. Her breath caught. She had grown up hearing stories about Earth, about how humanity had once ruled the stars, about how one day they simply disappeared. No war, no plague, just gone. Some said they died off, others said they ascended, but most believed they were extinct. This ship said otherwise. "Get me a closer view," she ordered. As the camera zoomed in, they saw markings across the hull, faded letters, but still clear. Arc 47. The Phoenix. A sudden pulse echoed through the ship. The signal changed. A voice, old, metallic but human, spoke through the comms. "This is Earth Colony Ship Phoenix, requesting identification. Coordinates locked, preparing for revival sequence." Revival sequence. Lyra's eyes widened. Her crew looked at her, waiting. "We're going in," she said. Commander Bren said, "This ship's been floating for 20,000 years. This could be a trap, or worse, or it could be the truth," she replied. "And if humans really are still alive on that ship, we need to be the first to find out." She turned to the comms officer. "Send a message to Central Command. Tell them what we found, but don't wait for a response. Plot a boarding route." The ship moved closer to the Phoenix. The outer hull of the ancient vessel loomed like a mountain. Lights sparked along its sides as if sensing them. A door opened slowly near the base. An airlock, still functional after millennia. Lyra tightened her gear and stepped into the airlock bay with a small landing team. She looked once more at the massive ship before her. Humanity, silent for so long, might finally have something to say again. She stepped forward, into the darkness of the Phoenix. The airlock door sealed behind them with a hiss. For a few seconds everything was quiet. Then a soft green light pulsed along the walls, scanning them. A mechanical voice spoke from above. "Atmosphere stable. Pressure equalized. Welcome aboard Arc 47, the Phoenix." Commander Lyra Solis led the way. Her boots echoed softly on the metal floor as she stepped into the ancient hallway. Behind her followed Tech Officer Bren, Security Chief Anya Dale, and Medical Officer Roan. Their suits were sealed, weapons ready, lights on. But so far there was no sign of movement, only silence, and the ship itself. The hallway stretched deep into the vessel. Dust floated in the air. Frozen panels flickered with faded blue lights. The walls were lined with old human symbols and warnings in standard Earth English. Some said Cryo Bay, others bridge access or caution, radiation zones. Lyra touched one panel. It lit up faintly beneath her glove. Still has power, she murmured. Bren tapped at his wrist console. This ship's reactor is ancient, but it's still running at minimal levels. That's incredible. It should have died out centuries ago. Anya stepped past a row of dark monitors. I don't like this. It's too quiet. Where's the crew? They turned a corner and found their answer. The hallway opened into a wide chamber, the cryo-sleep bay. Hundreds, no thousands of pods lined the walls and ceiling like a honeycomb. Each one contained a human, pale faces still as stone suspended in frozen sleep. Men, women, children. Each wore a uniform or suit labeled with Earth insignias long forgotten. The team stared, stunned. Lyra moved toward the nearest pod. A small screen showed vitals, low but stable. The name read, Drayan Kale, rank Admiral, status, cryosleep active. Admiral Kale Drayan, Bren read aloud. He was in the old records, last Earth Fleet commander during the galactic collapse. He vanished with the Phoenix 2,000 centuries ago. Anya raised her rifle slightly. You're telling me this guy's been asleep for 20,000 years? Roan was already scanning the pods. Life signs are weak but holding. The cryo systems are old but still functioning. These people are alive. Lyra took a step back and looked around the massive chamber. This isn't just a ship, she said. It's a vault, a time capsule. Why disappear? Bren asked. Why sleep for this long? As if in answer, a projector in the center of the chamber blinked on. A faded hologram appeared, an older woman in a deep navy blue Earth uniform. This is Commander Mira Voss, Earth Arc Project Lead, the image said. If you're seeing this, then the Phoenix has been discovered. To those who find us, know this Earth did not fall. We chose silence. We chose survival. The hologram showed images of Earth burning, space battles, collapsing stations. The Great War tore the galaxy apart. We saw no future in endless conflict, so we left. We built the arcs. We placed the best of us in cryo-sleep. We trusted the future would be wiser. The screen faded. Silence returned. Lyra's voice was calm but firm. They left because they didn't believe in the war anymore. They chose to wait for peace. Bren turned slowly. So what do we do now? Before Lyra could answer, the ship shuddered. The lights flickered. Doors opened deeper inside. Another voice, different from the hologram, came over the ship's speaker system. Cold, clear, and artificial. Revival sequence preparing. Countdown initiated. Awaiting command override. Someone or something just triggered a wake-up protocol, Roan said. Anya raised her weapon again. Should we stop it? Lyra shook her head. No, we need to understand. These people hold answers, and the galaxy needs those answers. She looked back at Admiral Kale Drayan's pod. His face was calm, frozen in time. Waiting. Prepare to access the bridge, she ordered. Let's find out what else this ship is hiding. Far from the silent expanse, in the core systems of the Kareth Dominion, a transmission reached the Dominion's high command. It was fragmented, but clear enough. Human vessel, designation Arc 47, power systems reactivating. Possible cryo-human life detected. Within minutes the message reached the ears of Warlord Vuk Tauren, ruler of half the known galaxy. Vuk stood tall in the command chamber of his dreadnought, the Obsidian Fang. His skin was pale gray, his eyes cold and calculating. The Dominion had ruled for centuries, built on control, strength, and the belief that the humans, once fierce, once many, were long dead. Humanity's disappearance was no tragedy to them. It was proof that the strong survive and the weak vanish. Now the past had returned. A holographic image of the Phoenix floated before him. The ship looked like a relic, but its reactivation meant danger. Is this confirmed? Vuk asked. His science officer, Zerna Kor, nodded. The ship is real, ancient human technology. The vessel is massive. Records indicate it vanished over 20,000 years ago, and now it awakens. Vuk said, voice sharp. Zerna hesitated. If the humans aboard survive, they may still carry Earth's old knowledge. military tech, history, perhaps even weapons we've never seen. Vuk turned to face his war council. And if word spreads that humanity is alive, the other races may rise behind them. We've ruled in their absence. Their return could unbalance everything. He raised a hand. Dispatch a strike fleet. I want that ship destroyed before it leaves the expanse. Yes, Warlord, Zerna said. Vuk stepped closer to the image of the Phoenix. Let them sleep forever, he said softly. The past should stay buried. Back aboard the Phoenix, Lyra and her team reached the command bridge. It was a wide circular room with tall windows that looked out into space. Dust coated the controls, but the systems were awakening. One by one, screens lit up in soft blue. A chair in the center slowly adjusted, moving upright, waiting for someone to sit in it again after millennia. Bren wiped dust from a panel. Old Earth interface, simple but functional. Anya scanned the windows. Still no sign of movement outside, but we should expect company soon. Lyra stood at the captain's console. A small screen blinked command access required. Enter authorization. She looked at the screen. Then, surprisingly, it lit up on its own. The ship's AI spoke again. Commander Lyra Solis. Genetic marker matched. Earth lineage confirmed. Temporary access granted. Lyra blinked. Earth lineage. How? The ship must recognize your DNA, Bren said. You might be descended from one of the ARC project founders. That would explain it. Suddenly, an alert rang through the bridge. A red icon blinked on the display. Incoming vessels detected. Long-range scan identifies Karath Dominion warships. ETA 6 hours. Everyone froze. Anya cursed. They're already coming. Roan stepped closer. If they find us here, they won't ask questions. They'll destroy this ship. Lyra clenched her fists. Then we don't let them. She turned back to the console. How long until we can wake someone up? Bren checked the cryo control systems. The revival process is delicate. For full safety, 2 hours minimum. I can try to shorten it, but it'll be risky. Do it, she said. Start with Admiral Drayan. Roan nodded. I'll monitor vitals and guide the process. He'll need time to recover. Lyra paced slowly across the bridge. Outside the window, stars shifted. The silent expanse was still, but the storm was coming fast. If this ship holds even a fraction of the knowledge humans once had, she said, then we need to protect it, not just for Earth's memory, but for the future of every free world in the galaxy. She turned to her crew. We hold this ship, we wake the past, and we prepare to face the Dominion. In the cryo chamber far below, the first lights blinked on inside Admiral Cal Drayan's pod. His heart rate quickened. His fingers twitched. Humanity's last commander was about to rise. The cryo chamber was filled with a soft, pulsing light. A quiet hum echoed through the air as power flowed into the ancient systems. One pod, near the center of the massive room, hissed loudly. Steam poured from its seams. Inside it, Admiral Cal Drayan, commander of Earth's final fleet, began to stir. Commander Lyra Solis stood nearby, her eyes fixed on the pod. Her heart was steady, but the weight of the moment was clear on her face. Around her, Tech Officer Bren, Medical Officer Roan, and Security Chief Anya Dale waited in silence. The air was heavy with anticipation. The pod unlocked with a click, and the front slowly opened. A cold mist spilled out onto the floor. Cal Drayan took his first breath in 20,000 years. His chest rose sharply, and his eyes opened, blue and sharp as steel. He sat up slowly, blinking, adjusting to the light. His body was weak but alive. He looked around, confusion flickering across his face. But then his gaze found Lyra. Status report, he said. Voice rough but commanding. Lyra stepped forward. You've been asleep, Admiral. A long time you're aboard the Phoenix. I'm Commander Lyra Solis of the Free Systems Alliance. We found your ship drifting near the edge of the silent expanse. Drayan looked down at his uniform, still intact though faded, then back up at Lyra. How long, he asked. Roan answered softly. 20,000 years. Drayan was silent. He closed his eyes and took another slow breath. Earth? Lost. Lyra said. No one's heard from Earth in millennia. Humanity disappeared with the Arcs. The galaxy thought you were extinct. Drayan nodded once. And now? The Karath Dominion rules most of known space. Lyra said. They've sent a fleet. They're 6 hours out, maybe less. If they reach us, they'll destroy this ship, and everyone in it. Drayan didn't move. His mind was already working. How many cryopods are active? Thousands, Bren replied. Still in deep sleep. Revival takes time. Drayan swung his legs over the edge of the pod, steadying himself. Then we won't wake them. Not yet. He looked up. Take me to the bridge. The walk was slow. Roan gave Drayan a light stabilizer injection to help his strength return. He refused a support harness. Each step he took was steady, purposeful. Lyra stayed close. When they reached the bridge, Drayan paused at the entrance. His eyes swept over the old controls, the lights, the view of deep space beyond the windows. He stepped toward the central console. It lit up beneath his hand. Welcome, Admiral Kale Drayan. Command functions restored. Begin status scan, he ordered. I want ship integrity, weapon systems, defense protocols, and external threats. The AI responded immediately. Hull 87% stable. Shields at 23%. Weapons inactive but intact. Reactor online. Enemy vessels 5 Dominion warships en route. Estimated arrival, 3 hours, 42 minutes. Drayan turned to Lyra. This ship was built for survival. We hid it well, but they found us anyway. Lyra nodded. I believe the Dominion sees humanity's return as a threat. They're not wrong, Drayan said. But I don't plan on starting a war, just surviving one. While Drayan worked on reactivating the Phoenix's defense systems, Lyra and Bren moved to engineering to assist. Anya positioned defense teams around key access points. Roan stayed near the cryo chamber, monitoring other pods just in case. The Phoenix began to change. Power surged through its systems. Long dormant lights came alive. Shield generators hummed. Weapon mounts along the hull unlocked and rotated slowly, pointing toward the stars. The Phoenix was waking, ancient, wounded, but still dangerous. Drayan stood at the helm once more, surrounded by blinking consoles and glowing screens. They'll test us, he said. They'll expect a dead ship, but we'll give them something else. Bren looked up from his station. Sir, if they fire first, they will, Drayan said. That's why we won't wait. Time passed quickly. The countdown neared its end. On the edge of long-range scanners, 5 red blips appeared. Karath Dominion ships. Anya's voice came through the bridge comms. They're forming attack formation. Looks like they're scanning the Phoenix. No communication attempt yet. Drayan didn't flinch. Prepare to fire warning shots. Charge energy banks. Lock defense turrets. Lyra looked at him. Admiral, are we ready for this? Drayan met her eyes. We don't have to win. We only have to survive. As the Karath fleet crept closer, the Phoenix, silent for 20 millennia, shined with new life. The past was waking. The Dominion was coming, and humanity was ready. The stars outside the bridge shimmered, but the silence was tense. On the main screen, 5 Karath Dominion warships drifted closer, sharp, black vessels shaped like daggers, their hulls glowing faint red. They were not here to talk. They were here to destroy. Inside the Phoenix, the bridge was alive with quiet, focused activity. Admiral Kale Drayan stood tall at the center, his hands resting on the old control panel as if he had never left it. Around him, Commander Lyra Solis and her crew worked steadily. Every second mattered. They've stopped moving, said Anya Dale over the comms. Range 12,000 kilometers. Their weapons are charged. They're giving us a warning, Lyra said. Drayan shook his head. No, they're waiting for us to blink first. A sudden alert rang through the Phoenix's systems. The Dominion fleet had locked targeting sensors. Shields to maximum, Drayan ordered. Charge all defensive weapons. Do not fire unless they make the first move. All systems ready, Drayan said. We're holding. A moment passed. Then another. Suddenly, A sharp tone cut through the silence. "Incoming fire," Anya shouted. The lead Dominion warship fired 2 plasma torpedoes. They streaked through space, glowing bright blue. "Brace for impact," Lyra yelled. The torpedoes struck the Phoenix's shields with a thunderous shockwave. The entire ship trembled. Lights flickered. Sparks flew from a nearby console. "Shields at 68%, Brayan reported. "No hull breach." Drayan's voice was calm. "Return fire. Target their weapons. Let them know we're not a ghost ship." Turrets along the Phoenix's hull came alive. Twin laser batteries fired in perfect rhythm, streaking across space toward the lead Dominion vessel. The shots hit with precision. One turret on the enemy ship exploded in a ball of flame. The rest of the fleet scattered, repositioning. "They're coming in fast," Anya warned. Full attack pattern. The battle had begun. Inside the Phoenix, every deck came to life. Auto-defense systems activated, sealing off key corridors. Emergency crews moved to standby positions. The cryo chambers remained sealed, dark and quiet, untouched by the chaos. On the bridge, Drayan moved between stations, his energy growing with every second. "Divert power from auxiliary life support to forward shields," he commanded. "Charge the particle beam. Hold it until they get close." Lyra was at the navigation console. "We can't outrun them. They're faster." "We don't outrun them," Drayan said. "We make them regret catching us." 2 enemy ships moved in on the Phoenix's flank, unleashing a storm of plasma fire. The ship rocked violently. The shields dropped to 40%. "Target their engines," Drayan snapped. A concentrated blast from the Phoenix's underbelly cannon shot forward like a bolt of lightning. It struck one of the Karras ships near the rear thrusters, sending it spinning out of formation. "One down," Drayan called. The other ships pressed harder. Lyra gritted her teeth. "We can't take much more of this. Shields won't hold." Drayan didn't hesitate. "Initiate vent maneuver." Now, Drayan hit the command. Outside, 2 massive side vents opened on the Phoenix, releasing a blast of ion gas. It created a cloud that blinded the enemy sensors for a few seconds. "Now," Drayan shouted. Full broadside. From the hidden weapon arrays on the Phoenix's left side, a row of cannons fired at once. The enemy ship caught in the cloud never saw it coming. It took the full hit and exploded into a cloud of debris. Only 3 ships remained, but the Phoenix was hurt. Lights dimmed, power was dropping. "Reactor output falling," Drayan warned. "We can't keep this up." Drayan moved to the central console. "Prepare to activate the core failsafe." Lyra turned sharply. "Failsafe, that's a last resort. It's a short-range energy burst," Drayan said. "Could disable their ships temporarily, but we have to wait until they're close. If we mistime it, we fry our own systems." "Understood," Lyra said, eyes hard. The enemy ships began to regroup for a final push. They came in tight formation, aiming for the Phoenix's weakened front. Drayan watched the screen, counting seconds in his head. Steady, the ships came closer. Plasma charges powered up. "Now," Drayan slammed the command. A surge of white-blue energy exploded from the Phoenix's core. It expanded outward in a tight wave, hitting the enemy ships head-on. Lights on their vessels flickered and died. Their weapons went cold. Engines stopped. For a moment space was still. The Phoenix floated quietly, its lights dim but steady. "They're disabled," Drayan said. "They're dead in space." "Status?" Drayan asked. "Minimal damage," Lyra replied. "Reactor reboot in progress. We're stable." Drayan sat back in the command chair. His breath was heavy but his eyes were alive. "We survived." A silence returned to the bridge. Not of fear, but of relief, of victory. Drayan stood slowly and turned to Lyra. "You and your crew saved this ship. Humanity owes you." Lyra shook her head. "We're not done yet. If the Dominion sent these, they'll send more." Drayan nodded. "Then we prepare. We awaken the others. We rebuild." He turned to the viewport, staring into the stars beyond. "For 20,000 years we slept," he said. "Now we rise." A week had passed since the battle in the silent expanse. The Phoenix, though damaged, remained intact. Her outer hull bore the scars of the fight, blistered plating, burn marks, shattered sensor panels, but she still flew. Deep inside, systems once dormant for thousands of years now hummed with steady life. The ship had survived. More importantly, so had hope. On the command bridge, Admiral Caldran stood before the large viewport, hands behind his back. Beyond the glass, the wreckage of the Dominion warships floated in silence, mute reminders that humanity's strength had not faded with time. The stars stretched far into the distance, clear and endless. Commander Lyra Solis stepped onto the bridge. Her uniform was wrinkled, and her eyes showed signs of fatigue, but she moved with purpose. "Repairs are at 40%, she reported. "The reactor is stable. We've brought secondary shields back online, and cryopod restoration has begun. 17 awakened so far, mostly engineers and medical staff." Dran nodded, his gaze still on the stars. "Good, they'll be needed." Lyra stood beside him. "The Dominion hasn't returned. No ships on long-range scans. I think the damage we did sent a message. They'll be back," Dran said. "Not immediately, but one day, they'll want to finish what they started." Lyra looked at him. "And when they do," he smiled faintly, "next time they won't be fighting one old ship. They'll be fighting a people who remember who they are." They stood in silence for a moment. Dran turned from the window and walked to the command chair. The ship's AI had reconstructed the central control system, combining old Earth technology with Alliance interface tools. It felt both ancient and new. "Sit," he said. Lyra hesitated. "Sir, you're the one who found us," Dran said. "The one who boarded this ship when everyone else was afraid. You faced the Dominion and stood your ground. That makes you more than a scout. Sit." Lyra slowly lowered herself into the command chair. The interface lit up under her hands. For a moment, she said nothing. "Then it feels right," she admitted. Dran nodded. "The Phoenix needs a captain, someone who lives in this time, someone who knows what's at stake." Lyra glanced around the bridge. The crew was changing. Some of her people remained. Others, humans who had been asleep for centuries, were now taking their place, learning, remembering. The ship was becoming a bridge between past and present. "The Alliance will want answers," she said. "When they hear about this, about all of this, they'll be afraid." Dran said, "Some will want to help, others will want to control us." Lyra leaned back slightly in the chair. "Then we make it clear that humanity doesn't want war, just a place in the stars again." Dran walked to a side console and typed a command. The ship's communications array lit up. A message began to broadcast, not just to the Alliance, but to all systems within range. Simple, clear. "To all who hear this, this is the Earth Arc Phoenix. Humanity has returned, not to conquer, not to rule, but to remember and rise." The message repeated every 60 seconds. In the cryo bay, more pods opened. Engineers blinked into waking. Scientists stumbled into the light. One by one, they rejoined the world. Elsewhere, Bren and Anya guided teams through repair corridors, restoring long-dead systems. Roan led a growing group of medical staff, helping the newly awakened adjust to life after 20,000 years of sleep. And through it all, the Phoenix sailed forward, slowly leaving the edge of the silent expanse, heading back into a galaxy that had forgotten her. In the final hours of that day, Lyra stood alone in the observation deck. She watched the stars drift past, her mind quiet. Somewhere out there, Earth was still waiting, a world once called home, maybe forgotten, maybe lost, but no longer alone. She spoke softly, barely louder than a whisper. "We're back." The Phoenix soared on, its lights cutting through the dark.